But she says it with absolute conviction.
Absolutely. Well,
so
you know,
funny.
if you're going to crash and burn, do it with, conviction.
Sell it like you own it.
Yeah. So we are hot. This will probably get interesting. And
all right, roll some music.
man, you're
Why are
so
you
dominating.
You're so on edge today.
I am not. Oh my
Calm
God. Bradford.
Oh goodness.
Oh yes. Welcome to ShiftLess, the podcast that's only about bicycles. Hosted by two professional
Quasi.
dipshits.
Yeah.
Good morning, Bradford.
Good morning.
How you doing, sir?
I'm living the dream, man. Living the dream. You know?
We've got an in-person guest today.
Yes. Why don't you introduce him? I've only met him just today, and I'm excited to talk to him.
I understand that, but we have spoken of him often on the regularly. I don't know about often.
Yeah.
But Mr. Justin Cary is joining us. Thanks for being here, Justin.
Thanks for inviting me.
Soon to be local celebrity.
I think so. I think so. You don't have to yell into it, but just take it up a notch. You're a little far back from the mic, so
okay.
just enunciate, project to the rear of the building.
Yeah.
But so I thought it would be interesting to have Justin join us because so many of the topics that Brad and I have touched on, they're like seem to be right in your wheelhouse,
yes.
man.
Yes. No pun intended. Yeah.
I
but
think
so many topics merge with this one individual.
It's actually kind of mind-boggling, and we'll definitely get to it. But I mean, I think it's safe to say Brad and I are both fans of the unconventional.
100%. Yeah.
And I think it's safe to say, if I labeled you as unconventional in the cycling realm of things, would you take that as a slight against you, as a negative?
No, I would take it as a compliment for sure.
I assumed that would be the case, but you know, I wanted to qualify that on the front end to make sure that I didn't hurt your feelings by labeling you as the king of unconventional.
Well, let's get to that in a minute. I want to start at the beginning, though. How long have you been riding?
I think my first race was...
riding.
Oh, riding?
Yeah.
Probably 2015.
Okay.
Yeah.
So that's new in the world of cycling.
Less than 10 years.
Yeah, less than 10 years.
And I would consider that, I mean, I always rode a bike growing up.
Sure.
BMX stuff.
Yeah.
All that normal things. But I would consider...
Adult cycling.
Yeah, like going to Frisco Trail was my first...
That was your first time to ride off-road, like as an adult. Yeah.
And so, all right. So you started mountain biking at your local trail.
Mm-hmm.
Why? What got you going?
Or who?
Yeah. Actually, my neighbor back in the day, he was just like, "Bring your Walmart bike. Let's go to the trail."
And it was legitimately a Walmart bike.
Yeah. And it was crazy because I rode that bike all the time, just with my dog, getting him exercise, and then I think the bike broke within maybe 3 rides.
Yeah.
Man, that sounds so familiar. That's almost my introduction, beat for beat.
Yeah.
I still tell friends though that are thinking about getting in, I'm like, if you have a bike, just go ride, and when it breaks, go to the bike shop.
That's the time. That's the time to go next level.
But what I tell people generally, because I have a lot of people reach out and go, "Hey man, I want to get a bike," and I always tell them, go on Facebook Marketplace, find something that fits your budget. It's already depreciated. Ride the shit out of it, and then figure out what you don't like about it. And if you're gonna stick with cycling, then upgrade.
I think the problem though with that is, if they're not into bikes, they don't really understand what to get unless you're going with them and picking it for them. True.
Well, I mean, generally it turns into they'll send me a listing and I'll go,
not that one. Oh, check out this one.
Yeah.
That's $100 high.
Yeah.
Or whatever.
I mean, it obviously depends on what the market is too.
Sure.
Sometimes Facebook Marketplace is full of itself.
But yeah, I'm a huge proponent of trial and error on the cheap. And then from that, figure out what's worth investing your money from, or if it's even worth sticking with
Yeah.
at that point. I'm just going to give a super quick frame up of part of why Justin's here for those who are listening that may not be familiar with Justin. So again, starting in 2015 is when you started your adult cycling on a local mountain bike trail, and over those years, less than 10 years, Justin has become quite the endurance cyclist with a pretty good lean into the competitive side of things. Is that a fair snapshot?
Yeah, I think I really enjoy the endurance part of it, and I feel like after about 4 hours, I start catching people that had passed me previously. It happens almost every race that are longer.
Yeah, that was always my mantra too. Like I start to warm up at like hour 4. Yeah. So what was your history before that? Fitness? Like, you strike me as a soccer kid.
No, just the normal sports growing up. Nothing special.
Soccer's not normal.
Literally everything except soccer.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I don't know. I mean, were you a cross-country guy? Did you do any kind of endurance type events before?
Not really. Basketball, football, just growing up, normal stuff.
But you like to ride your bike 200 miles. Who hurt you?
Kevin did, apparently. He's 200 miles.
Okay, actually, all right, along those lines. So one of Justin's notable accomplishments, I think it was August or September, we rolled out what we're calling our FKT routes. And one of them is a 200-miler out of Denton that catches a lot of the hits of the Spinistry routes in North Texas. And Justin's done it twice so far, right?
Yeah, 15 hours and 12 hours and 24 minutes.
Okay. I'm sure I got that right. Yeah, I do. All right. So it's an FKT, but it's just for pride and glory. But playing with stuff, put a tiny little memento together for that. Playing with the new award maker. So that's a layout of the route with the pit stops along the way and your time. So Justin is the Denton 200 FKT champion for 2023, and that's a new thing we rolled out. And Justin hit it twice, and even your second one, you said you would have been sub 12 hours probably without a train and something else?
Yeah, so I was able to figure out how to do it 100 miles without stopping. I had like all my nutrition and everything. I got something behind my contact in my eye, and the pain was insane, so I actually had to stop at a gas station just for that.
So do you carry contact stuff with you?
I'm going to for the next time.
Yeah, because that's like I wore contacts for years, and I always struggle with that because I rarely had an issue, but when I did, it's like, what the hell do you do? I mean, I don't know how bad your vision is without contacts, but I can't ride trail without contacts.
Yeah.
So that's why I ride glasses now, but just 'cause I'm low maintenance, as we discussed earlier.
I also got stuck behind a train.
Yeah.
And it had to be at least 10 minutes. I was sitting there. I was like texting my wife, and I was like, oh, man.
That sucks.
Yeah.
That sucks to have, like, if you're going... your aim is sub 12 and all of a sudden it's taken away from you by something that's completely not your fault.
Actually, my aim was just to get first place because I was trying to beat I think Chip Constantine.
Yeah.
And I think he had 13 hours around there somewhere.
Yeah.
And I roughly did the math, and I thought I had to hold a certain mile per hour average, and I didn't really do the math that well. But.
Yeah. That's fair. So math is not your main strength.
That and spelling.
So how did you, what was your thought process to shave, and what was the time period between the 15-hour attempt and the 12:24, and what was the thought process to shave almost 3 hours off? What did you change?
I didn't ride when it was 90 degrees.
Yeah, that's a fair point.
That's fair.
Yeah.
Weather is always a factor.
Yeah.
Heat really is a factor. I went through, I might be getting this off by a little bit, but I think it was an insane amount of water on my first ride. I think it was 4 gallons, give or take a gallon of water. It was something crazy.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Are you a big sweater?
Very, yes.
Yeah. So you take in electrolytes. You talked about you make your own hydration drink.
Yeah, I try and shoot for like around 700 milligrams of sodium, up or down depending on the heat, and then it's like around 100 carbs. I use Maltodextrin and
Maltodextrin.
did I say that wrong?
Yeah, that's okay. It's for the
and
discerning listeners.
and fructose, and then you mix them, and then I use Gatorade Endurance for flavor, like just a few scoops of that.
Yeah. Okay.
And then the reason why I do that, though, I always tell my friends to do it, is because it's cheaper.
Yeah.
And it's cheaper by a lot. If you're fueling right with like gels, it could be, I don't know, you could be paying $10 a ride in just a few hours versus I'm paying like
easily
25 cents maybe.
Well, the other thing with like gels and all that stuff is, especially when you get into like 4-hour mark, that's when I used to fuel on gels and just cycling food. And my stomach would lock up about hour 4 to hour 6, like just couldn't eat, couldn't take in calories, and it would cause me to vomit, because my body would just literally stop processing. So
I think so. I've done a lot of experimenting with this, and it might have to do with if you get behind on your nutrition or even get dehydrated, your stomach stops processing.
Yeah.
But you also like maybe you had protein. You're not supposed to eat protein. I don't know.
Yeah.
So a lot of people don't really understand how to eat when they're riding, and I see people like, especially like on Judgment Day, they're coming with peanut butter and jelly sandwiches and like all this protein stuff. And
yeah, we've preached this on this podcast before. Like some people train one way and then try to race a different way, and it's like, well, you need to understand your nutrition on a regular basis and race the same way. Like if you're going to ride Judgment Day and fuel out of gas stations, you need to do that on a regular basis. Don't just say, oh, well, I'm riding X number of miles today, I can eat like shit. It's going to take a toll, So that's my thought process.
Are you if you're riding, you're racing type guy where you're always going full on, or do you find opportunities to just stop or casually stroll along and smell the roses and enjoy the scenery while you're riding?
I would say normally if I'm riding by myself, I'll take it a lot easier. But in my small friends group, I have this friend Alexi, and if I'm riding with him, it's a race. Every time we're riding, it's a race.
Those are good friends to have.
Yeah. We have about maybe 5 or 6 people in a small WhatsApp group, and we're all pretty big racers, and we kind of feed off of each other. Yeah,
that's a good thing, especially if you want to be competitive. You need to have somebody that pushes you.
Yeah,
we used to call it kicking each other in the nuts. I mean, it's like every hill is a race, and every sprint point, and
the only way to get faster is to ride with people faster than you.
That's true.
I think it's also super important to find a friends group to ride with, or join a club.
Yeah. Or show up to events.
Yeah. You can make friends there. You can make friends on group rides. It makes the whole cycling a lot more fun.
Yeah. 100%. So there's always a rabbit to chase. Yeah.
So let's kind of reframe and dial back to 2015. You got on your Walmart bike, started riding the local single track. Don't hold this against me. I can't remember specifically when you first came on my radar, but you definitely came on my radar. You stood out from the crowd at Sean's DFW Summer Series for certain. And this is not a negative. We're back to the
unconventional.
The unconventional. And it's why I asked the question, if you're riding, are you always racing? You were the guy at the DFW Summer Series that every time you came by the start-finish line, you were just hair on fire, 110 RPM on the cadence, and just throwing it down with all the watts you could. Everybody else is just, they're in the rhythm. And here comes Justin. Every time.
Granny saddle and all.
We haven't gotten there yet. When did you transition from 2015 Walmart bike to hair on fire racing guy? What did that look like for you?
I was also on an enduro bike then too. I was racing all that stuff on an enduro bike. But I know what you're saying. Actually, I think when I started like really taking it seriously, it was maybe 2018-ish, 2019. I got into Leadville in 2019. But that one got canceled, I think, in 2020. Yeah.
2020 Leadville was, I'm sure it was canceled.
I trained for Leadville for 3 years.
Wow.
Because 2020 was canceled. Then I got injured in 2021, COVID in 2022. I might be getting those backwards, but it took me 3 years to get there. And then I finally did finish in 2023.
And what was your finish time?
It was 2 minutes under the 12-hour period.
So no buckle.
No,
it's an 11-hour buckle, right?
12 hour. No, I did get a buckle.
Oh, you did?
Yeah, by
he
2
made
minutes.
it by 2 minutes.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay. I thought it was 9 hours and 11 hours, but it's 9 hours and 12 hours, right?
That's for the gold buckle.
yeah.
Yeah.
The big
I thought,
buckle.
when I got there, I was like, oh, this is going to be easy. I'm going to get the gold buckle.
Not so much.
No.
No.
I couldn't breathe up there. It was crazy.
So all right. So you said you were basically training for Leadville for 3 years, and so 2019 was when you first tried to get in, or 2018 for 2000?
So I got in 2019 for 2020.
Okay.
Yeah.
So again, from 2015 to 2019, to go from Walmart bike to Leadville, that's a pretty quick transition.
Yes.
Most people don't. How did you get from 15 to Leadville?
Okay.
Ambition. Frisco Trail to Leadville. What did that look like for you? Because I'm telling you, Justin, you're not the average bear.
No.
Man, this question's like kind of hard. I don't know. I lived in like the Frisco area. I was riding that trail a lot, maybe only like once a week. I remember doing a race there. It was a Dorber race, and I thought, oh, I'm fast. I ride once a week. I'm going to be fine. And as soon as we started, everybody just like
left.
sprinted out. I'm like, oh, this is going to be bad.
And again, I can relate to that.
It's funny to have such a naive standpoint and then be able to look back and think, God, I was so silly, you know? But a lot of people, and it's perfect because you want people to feel like that because you don't want to be overwhelmed stepping up to their first race, you know?
I think I have the answer to your question now, though. What really got me to that point was honestly racing around here, like Spinashi races, Dorber races, Judgment Day. I'm a competitive person, and training for these races is what probably got me to where I am in cycling right now. It's just, for me, it's always training for the next race.
What was it about? So you don't come from a cross-country background, cross-country running or anything like that. You're not coming from an endurance background. That's a very quick transition to be, let's pedal our bike for 12 hours as fast as we can.
Yeah.
I know it feels like I'm beating the dead horse, but there's something different in there. What was it that got you leaning towards endurance at that level that quickly? That's really outside the norm there.
Why are you so sad inside?
Are you a masochist?
I think I listen to David Goggins too much.
Who's going to carry the boat?
Yeah.
How old are you, by the way?
38.
38, okay.
And that's outside the norm too these days.
Mm-hmm.
It really is. So that means you were early 30s when you were really getting deep into the training aspect of things and racing and things like that, and not coming from where you've been racing and riding bikes since you were a teenager or early 20s. Mm-hmm. That's also, man, you're such an unusual cat, Justin.
Yeah.
You really are.
I almost brought my gravel bike with me. I probably should have.
You should have. I was hoping you would.
I'm really proud of it. I just spent like 7 hours customizing it. I have a GoPro holder on it, a quad lock phone mount, and
Triple redundancy computers here.
yeah, of course, my computer right there too. But I took aluminum and I kind of formed it around my aerobars, and I mounted it on the stem bolts.
Super nerd. I love it. I love it.
Yeah, because I'm trying to
So
some videos.
aerodynamics are not at the top of your list at the moment.
Okay, when I understand when I'm in my aerobars, I'm going to get a little bit of aerodynamics. It's not what it's there for. They're there for comfort, because when I was going over about 70 miles of gravel, I would get really numb hands. Uh-huh. And the first time I got it, I was like really scared because they actually didn't go away for like a week or two.
Yeah.
I Googled it.
These guys right here?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, I Googled it, and that didn't help too much. But basically what I got was the aerobars help because I'm able to change positions in my grips.
Very important. Yeah.
And then I put a suspension fork on it. It's the Fox Factory Stepcaster.
Yeah.
And it's amazing. It also helps for the numbness in the
Yeah.
hands.
And what's your bike again?
It's the Trek Checkpoint.
Okay.
Yeah. I had a similar situation. The first time I ever did anything over a century, we rode 186 miles on an 8-speed mountain bike, and these two fingers were numb for like 2 weeks. I thought I'd done permanent nerve damage. So it scared me too. I mean, I get it, but it's just from sitting in the same position for so long, and you're just killing that nerve, you know?
Yeah, and it's I feel like it's also like the vibrations.
100%, yeah. But just changing your hand position is critical over long distances.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, with the way I have it set up is so that I can do these 200-mile races, and I actually got into Unbound XL just last week. So
congratulations!
Yeah, nice. Our buddy Caleb's going to be there.
Oh, nice. Yeah.
So that's what I was about to ask you. Like, what are your ultimate goals? Like, I mean, you know, for someone to be as fresh into the sport and set their sights on Leadville, of course, to be disappointed and have it deferred for 3 years, but ultimately get to go there and do that. You strike me as a person that has continuing escalating goals. So what is the ultimate for Justin?
I mean, I just do this for fun, but I'm very competitive, and honestly, I really just want to get on the podium and the Spinachy races, and you know, I want to do Leadville in under 9 hours someday.
Yeah. I mean, do you want to do something like Tour Divide? Do you want to do race across Texas?
Yeah.
Do you want to keep stepping it up, or what?
Yeah, it's for the endurance part of it. It does seem like I can keep stepping it up, because I remember looking at 100-mile rides, and I also see people on Strava doing 100-mile training rides, and I was like, that looks crazy. And then I got up there slowly. I was doing 70 miles, 80, 90, 100, 120-mile training rides, and I feel like you can go a lot farther. Everybody can go a lot farther than they think they can go, but you don't want to make the jump too quick.
Sure. Yeah.
So
now, correct me if I'm wrong. I talked about, definitely you were on my radar at DFW Summer Series, but correct me if I'm wrong. I think the first time I recall coming across you on an endurance perspective was actually Sansom 66, and you were on like an 80-pound bike or something like that.
I think that was an enduro bike, and I always say that was the hardest race I've ever done in my life. Until I got to Leadville. But speaking of that race, the reason why it was so hard, I think, is I didn't know how to fuel, and I got super dehydrated.
You had no idea what you were doing there, right?
Yeah, exactly.
And did you get the whole 66?
So I didn't. This is interesting. I didn't quit, but you pulled me because the sun was about to go down, and you're like, okay, we're gonna stop now. I was actually at the point where I was pushing my bike. I could barely ride, but I didn't want to quit because I didn't want to get that in my head where I'm allowed to quit.
Yeah, dude, that's also super important. A lot of people, I used to see it a lot. As soon as you'd see someone DNF a race, it became almost a habit. It became easier. It's kind of like running. Every time, if you allow yourself to stop instead of just keep going, then it just becomes easier and easier to stop, you know? So I think that's a really important mindset. So I respect that.
Yeah.
Do you have any personal little tricks or habits or things you do when you're on the bike and those quit monsters start working in the back of your head? Do you have a simple little thing you do?
Basically, like what we just talked about, just never quit ever.
Yeah.
And if you feel like you need to quit, slow down.
Yeah.
Just walk. Take a break. Stop. There's one more thing. I just won't blank.
Okay. When it kicks in,
but everybody has carrots they dangle. You know, you're like, okay, in another 10 miles, I'll eat, this or whatever. I don't know. I have carrots that I dangle when I ride. I'm like, okay, make it to the top of the hill. Or whatever.
I always make mine tangible, but it's always, I see that tree down there. I'm going to pedal to that and then make my call, and then I'll get almost to it, and then, there's a top of a hill over there. I'll get to that one.
It's just playing games with your mind.
Exactly. And Yeah, my mind needs lots of games.
Your mind is a game.
I can't argue with that logic.
So walk us through your how many bikes do you have? Let's start there. Don't worry, your wife won't listen to this.
Oh,
Are you married?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
How many kids do you have?
Oh, I have 2.
Yeah. I just assumed that you were married and had kids.
Yeah. My wife is actually super supportive too of my riding, so
That's awesome.
I really appreciate
That's awesome.
her. She probably is going to listen.
What's your wife's name?
Sarah.
Thank you, Sarah. We appreciate you letting Justin play with us.
So how many bikes do you have?
Between 5 and 7.
Okay. That
Somewhere.
means like some of them are in pieces or not complete, or you're just unsure.
It would take me a few minutes to count them.
That's fair. So your main bike is your gravel bike, your long distance bike.
So I started with, mountain biking, and then I've really gotten into gravel. So it's hard to say what my main bike would be, but it's basically mountain biking or gravel, yeah.
Yeah.
And then I have like a road wheel set for my gravel bike, so I can kind of keep up with the club riders.
Yeah.
Yeah, on the road. Yeah.
So walk us through your gravel bike frame.
Yeah. So it's the Trek checkpoint with the Stepcaster, 50 millimeters of travel.
So that's their gravel fork then, 50 mil. Okay.
Yeah, and
All
I
right.
think it's like 1,200 grams, give or take, maybe 100. So
Okay.
it's not super heavy. It's supposed to be like their lightest fork.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wheel set.
It's just stock.
Yeah.
Bontrager.
Okay.
What I do differently though than most people is I use the Fidlock bottles, and I'm not saying this is better, but it's what I do. So I can keep about a 24-ounce bottle on underneath my
Down tube.
and then 3 18-ounce bottles, one on the top tube, and then in the triangle, 2 more. And then I also have a 70-ounce bladder inside a half frame bag.
Okay.
So what I do is I use for long rides. I fill the small bottles up with nutrition, and then drink from the top tube. When that's empty, while I'm riding, I just switch the bottles from the middle of the triangle to the top tube.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I do a very similar thing. Like I rotate, I drink from the same place all the time, and then I rotate my bottles through that position. So yeah, I understand that. So what, are you putting nutrition in your bladder as well?
No, because it's hard to clean, and
Yeah.
I have enough room for nutrition in my bottles.
Yeah.
And,
You want me to tell you the trick to cleaning your bladder?
What's that?
Rinse it, throw it in the freezer.
I have a friend who did that, yeah.
Bacteria doesn't grow or anything.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, I have a system. I got like a boot dryer and then taped a snorkel to it.
are you an engineer by trade?
I'm a retired inventor.
Oh, okay. Man, that's cool. What'd you invent? So many tangents.
Yeah, it's just it's not a super interesting invention. It's just a motorcycle part that held your license plate on. It was, I used to make them back in the day.
Very cool.
Yeah.
My kid just got his Texas motorcycle endorsement yesterday, and he is beyond stoked.
Yeah, I was actually listening to that podcast on the drive over here.
Oh yeah. Wait, where were we?
We were talking about bike setup
Nutrition
and stuff.
and
Engineer. You do differently. Bottles.
his bike setup. You were asking
Bike
about his,
setup. But we were.
you were walking through his gravel
I
bike.
think you were going to ask me why I'm faster on flats, or why flat shoes are faster.
We were gonna get there.
We're working there.
Well, so what's your bar setup? Because you said multiple positions. You're running aerobars
And
now.
you fashioned your aluminum plate.
I'm so proud of it.
I
need to
really
see
wish you'd have
pictures at
brought that. Yeah.
Maybe I can take like a video and upload it to the Spinistry. Yeah.
That'd be cool. I want to see it. Yeah.
Okay.
What's your bar setup though? You're not running a flat bar. You're running a drop bar, right?
Yeah, just normal drop bars. Yeah, with Aero.
With Arrow.
I don't think
They're,
I'm familiar with Trek Checkpoint bike. I'm gonna look that up.
So I
It's a solid bike.
So I just don't know much about Trek's lineup anymore. So
So I hot glued my aero bars. They're not round. I needed like a shim. No, hold on. In my defense, they held for probably 60 hours before
Okay.
they came a little loose.
A little loose.
Oh
And
my
then just tighten them, and
goodness.
they're perfect.
Good. Good. What's your tire of choice on the gravel setup?
42s and then the Specialized Pathfinder Pros.
Okay.
Yeah.
42. You get enough
think it's
cushion
42.
off of those.
Well, remember I have the fork also.
Yeah.
And I actually have a bouncy stem from Redshift,
Yeah.
but I don't need it because of the fork. I bought it before the.
Yeah, it seems like redundancy.
Yeah.
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 Huh. So you're not running any suspension on the seat post or anything, no thud buster or anything like that, but you do have
Just a big saddle.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And what's the thought process behind? Have you always ran a big saddle?
So, for years and years, I was using that saddle mountain biking, and then I realized that you can't get behind it when I started doing more technical stuff. So I switched to the normal saddle that everybody else uses, and I still have that on my mountain bike. But I had it on the gravel bike also, but I started getting really sore, numbness, and like I went back. I was like, I'm just gonna try the the bigger one.
Yeah.
And so far it's working, but it's not perfect. So I actually bought a few other saddles just to try them because I'm trying to get everything dialed in perfect for a 35-hour race.
Let me appeal to your weight weenie self, because I noticed how you dropped that it's 1,200 grams on your fork.
Yeah.
You know there's a huge weight penalty for that saddle.
I understand. But here's my bro science. When you're riding gravel, once you're up to speed, I'm thinking weight doesn't matter as much.
Until you go uphill.
That's
Yeah.
true.
Yeah.
Actually, in the last race we did, I was riding with somebody, and every time we went uphill, I couldn't keep up with them, and then the downhills I would smoke them, and we finished right next to each other.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, there's a weight penalty going uphill, but the weight pays off going downhill. So,
Yeah.
I mean, I get it. And comfort is super important. And Kevin and I have talked about this 100 times. Your 3 contact points, your feet, your hands, and your ass. And so feet, you're a flat pedal advocate, and I'm about it. I love it. I want to hear, you were talking about knee pain earlier, talking about riding indoors. So was that in a clipless setup?
I've never tried clips before.
Oh, well, that's interesting as well. So you started on your Walmart mountain bike. I assume you had plastic platform pedals. And what kind of pedals are you running now?
1-Up aluminum. Yeah.
Yeah, and shoes similar to those. What are those?
These are my shoes, actually.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And what are they?
They're the Specialized Bontrager brand.
Oh yeah, those are the ones you recommended on.
Yeah, they have a really large front toe box. And I've probably tried.
I'm sorry, Specialized and Bontrager don't go together. So
Oh, did I
Trek.
say Trek? Oh, I said
Yeah, Trek. I was gonna let it slide.
I just know people are yelling
Yeah.
at the moment.
I've tried a bunch of different shoes, and obviously 510s. Everybody recommends 510s, but I don't understand how people wear them because the toe box is so narrow that it's
It depends on the shoe, but yeah.
I've tried like at least three of them.
But
Yeah.
but you're happy with those.
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
that's all that matters. Yeah, when you find something that you're happy with,
Yeah.
if you don't have a backup pair now, on your way home, grab a pair.
Yeah.
I used to wear they were like almost like work boots.
Yeah.
that because like I would actually get like foot numbness also. And then I found these
You mean
shoes-
like hot spots or like literal numbness?
Yeah, like numbness in my toes, and I think it's actually like it might be genetic. I have like a wider foot, and so I needed like a wider shoe or a wider toe box, and I couldn't find I couldn't find anything that was like you could type in wide mountain bike flat and you can't find anything, or maybe now you can, but you couldn't 5 years ago.
Yeah.
So I was wearing like basically work boots.
Yeah. The first time I met Foster was at Tyler State
I
Park,
was just
and this
thinking-
goofy bitch shows up wearing Doc Martens, and I was like, "What are we doing?"
Oh, that actually just reminds me. So I ride in something also unconventional, just a t-shirt and basketball shorts.
Man, nothing fits in the box here. It's,
I mean, when I'm racing, I joined the McKinney Velocycling MVC group.
yeah,
But yeah, before that, I was T-shirt and basketball shorts.
Yeah.
No matter what.
So we don't know anything about breathable fabrics and aerodynamics.
And he walks in this morning. I run hot. I'll be okay.
Immediately says, I think I'm going to grab another sweater.
All right. So you walked us through the gravel bike, but you're not sure that that's your main bike. What's your mountain bike of choice these days?
So I have 2 Trek Super Calibers.
Mm-hmm.
One in case, like, if one breaks, and then I can send it to the shop, and then.
You still have one?
Yeah.
Are they both set up the same?
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah.
Interesting. Both geared.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. All right. That's
So I am definitely seeing a trend of Trek and Bontrager in your world.
Yeah.
What's your shop of choice these days?
Like local bike shop, you mean?
Mm-hmm.
Or, I just bought a bike from Cadence. They're really nice guys, but I mean, just Bike Mart. I have my closest. I have 2 actually that are close to me. It's like the Prosper location and the McKinney location. Those guys are great.
yeah.
Okay.
You know Vern, my boy Vern.
No,
No?
I might.
Okay.
I'm not great with names.
Oh, that's fair.
I might recognize them.
Bald head, Hispanic looking, mustache, super sweet guy.
Where does he work at?
I think he's at Prosper now. I'm
Okay.
not sure.
I
He may
can't
be at
keep
McKinney. Yeah.
He's a great guy.
Oh, hell of a guy. Hell of a guy.
Fantastic.
And then Barry Bishop's, I think he's behind the scenes now at Bike Mart, but hell of a guy too. Bunch of good riding up in McKinney. That's where I actually cut my teeth on a lot of endurance stuff back in the day with Tom Brandish, and used to go up there. He was on McKinney Velo back then, and we used to go out there and do 100+ mile gravel rides.
You're showing your age. You're showing your age.
Yeah, we do with the McKinney Velo. We have like an east side and a west side. The west side is like closer to like Grapevine. They do group rides on Saturdays, and then we do group rides on Saturdays on the east side, and we do like 60 miles, and it feels like a race every time you do it.
Every time.
Yeah.
I think it's good training.
Yeah,
so.
that's not a group ride. That's a training ride.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
So
If it feels like a race, it's a training ride.
But you know,
Yeah.
speaking of that though, I'm learning how to not get in the front and go crazy.
Yeah,
and
that's
because I'm new to I'm technically
lining
new
and
to
stuff.
gravel, and
Yeah.
I'm new to road riding, and so I think it was a holiday ramble. I jumped in the front, and then like I felt like we were going too slow, so I just pulled away. I think I was out there for 15 minutes, and then everyone caught me, and I was like, "Oh,
and you were blowed up.
I just made a huge mistake."
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And-
learning some tactics will make you incredibly faster. Like
Yeah.
sitting in, not doing the work, and waiting and picking your points.
Yeah.
You know, or making your attack when it's going to actually stick.
Yeah.
That kind of stuff. I mean, race tactics are huge. Like, watch some video and process some of that stuff, and you'll step up immediately.
Yeah, it seems like there's a lot of strategy behind
Totally.
the gravel races, the
Totally.
miniature gravel races, and
do you have a coach?
YouTube.
I assume that was going to be the answer.
Yeah.
I think you're at the point where a coach could be useful, but I'm never going to say you have to have a coach.
No.
But it's also one of those things. It's like anything else in the cycling world. If you think you want to go with a coach, everyone's going to tell you their coach is the best coach. Interview a multitude of coaches and find the one that lines up with the way you think, which is going to be tough for you.
Yeah, I need a coach that rides flats. 'Cause, so many people have tried to convince me over the years. It's just crazy.
So you heard our podcast about flat pedals, right?
Yeah.
My boy
With
James
the-
Wilson. Yeah. He's a coach. And he actually, that's how I think how he got one of his big starts is he was coaching a bunch of 4X riders and downhill guys, and it was well before enduro, but he's always been an advocate of flat pedals. He was the one that talked me into flat pedals, although I'm not currently on flat pedals, but whatever. I don't see a huge benefit to flat pedals if you're adapted. I mean, to clipless if you're adapted to flat pedals. Sounds like you've already got, if you're doing 200 miles on flat pedals, you're good. So, I mean,
Yeah.
what's her name? Alexandra I can never remember her last name.
Buchan or
Yeah.
Lucian or
She does all her events on flat pedals.
yep.
I mean,
And boots.
Yeah.
Well, I think she's gotten away from the boots now.
and single speed.
And single speed.
She did Tour Divide, Arizona Trail, all that stuff. Flat pedals, single speed.
Do you have
boots.
a single speed in the mix, Justin?
That's basically the only bike I don't have.
There's your N+1.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm telling you, you're a natural single speeder, but you really don't want to go down that path.
Why is that?
Because then you will be frustrating yourself trying to keep up with everybody for the 200 miles.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I don't think I would want to race on single speed, but it
Oh,
does seem
yes,
like
you
it would be
will.
fun. Oh,
It's a fantastic training tool, especially on the mountain bike, because it changes the way you process the trail. It changes your thought process. It really forces you to pick better lines, forces you to carry more momentum instead of just dumping gears and climbing. You've got to stand up and hit it, and it's just I think it's a great training tool. If you want to get faster on a mountain bike, the two things you need are single speed and ride some road.
yeah,
So-
definitely ride road and gravel. What I have a single speed friend that I used to ride with a lot, and I noticed that during climbs I really had to push hard so I didn't
Yeah.
get in his way, because
Yeah.
he would have to speed up hard to get up to climbs. And yeah.
Yeah, because you have to carry momentum and you have to stay on top of your gear. So, and I think a lot of that translates over to a geared bike as well, especially line selection and momentum. I just think it's a great training tool.
Yeah, but to get faster, I do feel like you need to do a lot of miles, like road, gravel.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I agree completely. So,
yeah. I'm trying to be more rounded. So I have like my old enduro bike, and I want to get back into that a little bit.
what's your enduro bike?
It's a 2020 Trek Slash.
Do you have a bike that's not a Trek?
I have actually my first bike. It was a Specialized, I think, stunt jumper from like 2015 ish, whenever that was. Yeah.
All right.
And that bike still has like two front cogs, like the.
It's a 2x setup.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's,
Trek Slash.
No-
I don't know that bike either.
Nothing wrong with a 2x. Nothing
Yeah,
wrong
just
with
showing
the
its
2x.
age, though.
I know. that it is.
Yeah.
Now, so do you consider yourself? It sounds like you consider yourself more of a mountain biker than a gravel rider at this point.
I really, really enjoy gravel, so I wouldn't really categorize myself as one or the other.
Let me ask this in a different way then, because also, Brad, your all or nothing event that you invented,
I love that race, by the way. That
Yeah.
was a really fun race.
he won it
Yeah, I know.
on a gravel bike
On flat
Correct.
pedals.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
on flat pedals. Why did you opt for the gravel bike for that one? And do you still think that was the right choice?
Oh, 100%. It was my front suspension. That saved me on that, because I was doing single track and I came out. I remember passing a bunch of mountain bikers on the trail on the single track, and the only downfall, was because my tires are skinnier. I had no traction in the turns, but
Yeah.
like the rocks, roots, small drops. But the fork was amazing. Yeah.
50 mils of travel, though. I mean, that's not a lot. But
And for those that are listening that don't know Justin, and I hope this doesn't hurt your feelings, Justin, I guarantee you everyone's listening to this conversation, if they don't know Justin, they're picturing in their head that elfish, wayfish, 120-pound
Yeah.
cycling dude.
right.
Does Justin fall under that body type, Brad?
I mean, he's unconventional in every aspect. and I mean that with the utmost respect.
No,
I
you're
mean,
fine. It
complete
drives me
respect.
crazy.
Complete respect.
I'm 5'10", 200 pounds, and I
Yeah.
get to races, and I'm racing next to people that are 170 pounds and 6 foot,
yeah.
and I'm riding with them.
Yeah.
So I just don't understand, because
Yeah.
I know weight's extremely important. I am trying to get down to like 180s, but it's a struggle.
It's not weight, it's power to weight.
Yeah.
I mean, if you're strong at 200 pounds, you have to be stronger than somebody that's 170 pounds. You know what I mean? So, I mean, but like I said, it's an attribute on the downhills.
Yeah.
So, you just got to carry more mass uphill.
Yeah,
You
And
know.
I do a lot of strength training too,
Yeah.
so maybe that helps a little.
Yeah.
But, yeah.
I would imagine.
My
Yeah.
wife teaches a fitness class. She's awesome, and then I do CrossFit in Prosper at Sanctum.
Yeah. Oh, I know Mike Bond.
Oh, you do?
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, Bond's he's an old school guy.
Yeah.
Yeah. He's a hell of a dude. He's quirky.
He's
but
awesome.
he's awesome. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's cool. It all comes full circle.
Yeah, it seems like everybody knows each other in this community.
Yeah. That's
Yeah.
the cycling community. Like as big as DFW is, it's like it's less than 6 degrees of separation in the cycling community. in DFW.
3 degrees at
Yeah,
most.
it's crazy.
Yeah.
So how long you been doing CrossFit?
About a year and a half or so.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Very cool. I needed to start doing something. I need to start picking up heavy stuff and putting it back down.
Yeah.
All I've been doing is climbing and riding. So
I feel like group classes, whether it's CrossFit or just, strength training at your local gym, they help a lot for just keeping you going, what I mean? Keeping you consistent. Keeping you, yeah.
yeah. So do you do any running or anything like that?
So I have a weird condition. It's similar to shin splints where I can't run.
Okay.
I haven't been able to really run since 2007-ish.
Yeah.
It's been a long time.
Running's bad for you anyways.
Yeah.
Running's for thieves. So I was just curious if you did anything else to help with your endurance other than cycling. You do any swimming?
I enjoy swimming, but I don't.
Not like lap swimming.
No, I haven't
Yeah.
since I was younger.
Okay. I was just curious. I'm just trying to figure out what all's going on in there.
Did you wrestle when you were in school by chance?
No, it
You
was.
do look like a wrestler.
Yeah.
That makes perfect sense, yeah.
Yeah. No,
So-
just football, baseball, just the normal stuff.
What position you play in football?
I was a linebacker and then lineman. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Interesting. All right. So what's your next major event? What's the next thing you're training for?
This is kind of crazy. I have Unbound XL and then Leadville again.
Which is in June, right?
I think it's
XL's in June, right?
May. I think it's May.
It's end of
May.
It's end of May this year.
Yeah.
Oh, really?
That's the
Okay.
way. That's the way it works out.
Okay.
But-
So what's your goal for XL and what are you going to try to do leading up to that? What's the cutoff for XL? Let's start there.
I think it's 35 hours.
Okay.
But I do actually like to set goals. And maybe top 50%. Yeah. It's not even
It's only 100 people, right?
I think it was between 100 and 140,
Okay.
give or take. But I'm pretty sure last year only 50 people finished. I might be wrong.
Yeah.
But I know a lot.
The attrition rate's
more-
high.
Yeah.
For sure.
So
and
when-
with the regular DK or Unbound, the attrition rate's really high too.
When you say top 50% of 50% of the finishers or top 50% of the whole field?
Of the finishers.
Okay.
Yeah.
So that would be top 25 then.
Okay.
I
Yeah. No, I see what you're saying. Yeah.
He maths too.
I'm just making sure we're on the same page because we're going to help you get there.
So do you do any night riding currently?
Yeah, when just because of scheduling reasons and stuff, I'll sometimes have to do that at just Irwin Park. That's my local trail. Or my
But I
home
mean,
trail.
for gravel, like for Unbound, like what's your light
Oh,
setup going
I
to
see what
be?
you're saying.
Do you have a light setup?
Yeah, I have a lot of lights. I'll be ready. I have a lot of gear.
I'm just
No, I see what you're
wondering.
saying. Yeah,
you know, 'cause-
I'll have backups and
Okay.
Yeah, I use I think it's Night Rider.
Yeah.
And then I have another brand too.
So you're not running a Gen Hub or anything like that. You're just running off of batteries.
Yeah.
Okay, because you're going to be riding through the night to be competitive for Unbound.
Oh yeah,
XL.
I'm not sleeping. I'll be
Yeah.
riding the whole time.
Okay.
Yeah.
And you're going to fuel the same way. Okay, so 350 miles. Are you eating solid food?
No.
No
Just
solid food. Nothing.
straight sugar and Maltodextrin.
And you think that's going to last for 30 something hours?
Yeah.
Okay.
That'd be good.
All right. I would prove that
About
at some
that,
point.
Have you tried that theory out yet?
No, but
Have you
That'd be
taken
fun.
it? Have you taken it beyond 12, 15 hours?
I think my longest ride is 15 hours.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
And I felt good after that.
You didn't have any stomach issues, any fallout or anything?
No, and I do, like we were saying earlier, I do feel like if you stay on top of your hydration, nutrition, and don't get behind you, your stomach will well, it would be a lot better.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
But I know you're saying with stomach issues. I mean, that's why I started making my own nutrition and everything, because I would get crazy stomach issues, eating wrong and not eating enough and getting dehydrated.
Would you say you eat responsibly on a regular basis?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah. Pretty regimented?
Yeah, and it's, I used to have a timer on my Wahoo, but I actually just turned it off because it's just like, when you do enough races and you do enough training, you kind of just know when when to eat.
Yeah, we talked about that before. Like, I used to have a timer set up on my Garmin, or it would go off every 10 minutes.
Yeah.
And it's drink, whether you're thirsty or not, you know. And then I turned it off because it became just innate, you know.
Like distracting too a little bit. Yeah.
Well, I mean, all the tools on that computer, your cadence, your heart rate, your timers, and so forth. Once you get into your rhythm, those help you train to know that rhythm and to know your habits and things like that. But once you're there, then it just becomes second nature. It becomes muscle memory, so to speak.
Yeah.
I feel like, you know what helps a lot too is just like if somebody's out there and it's like, oh, I want to do Unbound or I want to do Leadville. What really helped me a lot was actually doing local races. You just get, you know, if it's your first race, you get really nervous, or if it's your first few races, you get really nervous. But the more you do them, the more you're prepared, and
Sure.
it just gets a lot easier.
Yeah, that makes sense.
As far as racing itself goes, on the mountain bike specifically, what's your favorite type of racing?
I mean, it would be like just endurance racing, anything over 4 hours, just because I do better.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Have you done any long format mountain bike races, like Watch It All Challenge or BT Epic, or, you know, like big loops, 60 milers and stuff like that? Or you're just doing multiple lap, like 4 hour races and 6 hour races and stuff like that?
Yeah, I've done the 6 hour Ray Porter a few times.
Yeah. Brought to you by Big Pig.
Yeah, I'm just going blank on all the races I've done.
Yeah, that's
it's like on the spot.
That's fair.
I mean, have you done out of state mountain bike races?
Leadville.
Besides Leadville, I don't think so. Not that I can think of.
And what'd you do Leadville on? We didn't ask you that.
Oh, my Super Caliber, the Trek Super Caliber.
Okay, that makes sense. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
And I actually go in there. You look at it, and everyone's like, "Oh, it's like a gravel race," and blah blah
It
blah.
is.
But
there's like 20 miles of single track.
Right, but the actual single track, to me, it felt like enduro. Like it felt like downhill.
Yeah.
But I'm also on 100 millimeters, you know.
Yeah.
And
Travel.
it's not a lot. Yeah. So
Does that have a remote lockout on your fork?
I took it off.
Did you?
Because I would forget to
Unlock it?
unlock it, and I feel like it gets dangerous for me.
Well, not if it's remote. You just punk.
Yeah, but like,
It's unlocked.
say you're going downhill and you forget, and then you hit a rock. I feel like I would go over the handlebars.
Yeah, but I think,
Not if you were clipped in.
yeah.
Wouldn't that make it worse though?
But I think a remote lockout would be extremely beneficial for Leadville, because on all that gravel and stuff, you could have it locked out and be a lot faster.
Yeah.
And then get to the single track and unlock it, and there you have it. So,
Yeah.
just a thought. Just my.
This year I'm gonna use a dropper. So
Yeah.
yeah, I got away from a dropper for years because we don't really need them around here. But
Yeah.
You're going to get all sorts of hate.
You're gonna upset everybody, but I'm with you. But I'm old school. I don't have a dropper. I only have a dropper on my big mountain bike. So I don't run a dropper either.
you know, I do like it for Westside, and I have some friends that love Westside. So I was like, I'm gonna get the dropper for one of my mountain bikes just for Westside and for Leadville.
Yeah.
So, was the Rattler, was that your Leadville qualifier, or did you do something else?
Yeah. So for this year, I actually got it at Little Sugar.
Okay.
Yeah, I've been getting really lucky with the Leadville lottery, and I feel bad because some of my friends have not.
Well, they love Texans. For some reason, the lottery Texans have almost a shoe in. I don't know why. I don't know how it processes out, but there's a lot of Texans that get in on the lottery.
Yeah.
So,
Well, one of my friends has been trying to go for 2 years, and they keep denying him. But
it's not for everybody.
yeah. But the Austin Rattler's a crazy race. I do that one every year. I think I've actually done it 4 years in a row now.
So explain to the people at home what's the format of Austin Rattler, and what's the trail like, and
So I think it's 7,000 feet of climbing. I might be wrong, but it's a lot of climbing and it's steep. And if you cramp, you will cramp there.
Yeah.
You got to be in really good shape for that race. I've done it some years where it's hot, and that makes it even harder.
Yeah.
But it's a very fun race. There's a lot of people that go, maybe 300 to 500 or so in all the categories.
What trail network is it?
I think it's RPR, Revel Peak Range.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So back to cramping. Do you struggle with cramping?
So I think cramping is different for everybody, but
That's where I was going with this. Yeah.
I think I have cramping under control.
Okay.
So with the sodium, I have like my sodium right, and then I feel like it's sodium plus fitness.
Yeah.
And I can tell over the holidays I kind of dropped off of riding a little bit,
Didn't we all?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I cramped on the last race that I did. And I don't normally cramp after
This past weekend?
Yeah.
Like full blown cramp, like lockup cramp, or just twinges and riding through it?
Like, I kind of feel like you can ride through all cramps.
Some people can't. Some people get debilitating, like lockup. Have to get off my bike. Can't even barely get off my bike.
Yeah, I get the lockout cramps also, but if you just keep pushing, they go away.
There's
and then they
Goggins.
come back and go away and come back.
Yeah. Yeah. I think a lot of that. Like you said, cramping is very individual too. But I think a lot of people cramp because they're in over their head, and it's overuse almost. But then,
I think. Sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off.
no, you're good. You're good.
I feel like it's sodium plus fitness, and as your fitness goes up, the cramps will go away. So if you're cramping a lot, I think in your head, some people can be like, "Oh, I can't even race. I cramp too much." It's really just train more.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I agree totally.
Yeah.
So, but sodium plays a factor too. You can train all you want, but if you're not taking in, especially if you're the guy that has salt peaks on his, hat and shoulders and socks and all that stuff, then you're not. You need to take in more sodium.
Crusty mofos.
Yeah, I don't sweat that much, but I still take in plenty of sodium.
Yeah.
So it's a balancing act for everybody. Because we have buddies that they can walk to the mailbox and sweat, and then I have other buddies that can ride in 100 degrees and they don't ever get a wet brow. So and the more you sweat, the more sodium you're releasing from your system. And it's important for all your mind function too, like all that bonking and stuff. It's not just calories, it's sodium deficiency. So electrolytes, Brondo. So
Yeah, and I'm still confused on what type of sodium to use, because some YouTube channels will say one thing and another channel will say another thing. So like right now, for the last year-ish, I've been using sodium citrate. So it's been working. I don't know if
citric acid is great.
Yeah.
And then what about, do you do any sodium bicarbonate?
I haven't tried that.
So it's basically baking soda, but that's supposedly like tremendous for cramps, especially for endurance events.
I heard from YouTube again that
It's a credible source.
I know, right?
Yeah.
that could upset your stomach more than for some people.
Obviously, you want to take it in very small doses because it can be bitter too. But you'll notice like PR cream, PR lotion is basically a sodium bicarbonate paste that is a topical application. And if you look at a lot of anti-cramping stuff like Sport Legs and I can't even think of all of them right now, but if you'll look at the ingredient list, I think a lot of those have sodium. They call it sodium bicarbonate, but it's essentially baking soda.
Yeah.
So just thought, food for thought. So Unbound XL, you didn't tell us your actual goal. What's your hour goal?
Like hour goal?
Yeah.
I don't really have an hour goal.
But finish under the cutoff, obviously.
Well, it would just be like finish top 25% or 50% of the finishers.
Yeah.
That's pretty much it.
Yeah. Well, where did spot 25 finish last year?
I don't know.
Let's start there.
You need to identify your target.
Yeah, but speaking of that though, because when I did the Denton 200, the race, the Spinachy race, I didn't look at the terrain, and that's something like you learn as you do these races. It was basically uphill for half the race and downhill for half the race if you look at the overall thing. So halfway through the race, I was like, I can't make this time. And I was like, I wanted to give up, and because there was no way I had dropped below the mile per hour average that I needed to do, and I didn't realize it was downhill for the rest. So
basically, in Texas, as you go west, the elevation goes up. Generally speaking.
Yeah.
Now you had mentioned this past weekend at Harmony Hall that you cramped or started to cramp a little bit. Was that? Did you think that was because of just getting a little bit out of your routine during the holidays, or was there more terrain there than you were expecting and you just didn't dial in for that?
100%. I just needed to train more. I kind of just holidays and
Sure.
kids being home.
There's nothing wrong with that.
But yeah, I haven't. I need a better indoor training setup.
Here's your breakdown real
Okay.
quick. There were 47 finishers at Unbound XL.
Okay.
48, because Peter's not on that list.
Well, 47th place time was 36 hours and 31 minutes.
Okay.
So I thought that 36 hours was the cutoff.
I think they changed it this year.
Okay. Probably because of Peter. But 25th place finished in 31 hours and 17 minutes. So average 11 and a quarter.
All right. Your
sounds easy.
Your goal is 30 hours.
Okay.
Your goal is 30 hours.
I would say that's a safe goal. Let me see. So 30 hours would land you at last year would land you at 17th place. Well, I guess not. 18th place. But 17th place averaged 12 miles an hour, and they finished in 29:18. So
Cool.
that's moving. I mean, over that course.
12 mile per hour average. That sounds right.
But the one that's crazy to me is first place. Why did I do that?
They also had a lot of mud last year. I think last year was kind of
An anomaly.
Yeah.
Weather is always a factor.
Yeah.
And I'm going to say over 300 miles that time of year anywhere that you're going to come across mud somewhere along the way.
Yeah.
It's
They can't vet the entire course. 15:37 average for the
Jeebus.
leader. 22 hours and 54 minutes.
sub 24. I knew that.
Yeah. That's strong.
Yep.
Strong. 29 years old, which is an anomaly as well.
At those levels, not so much. But
Yeah. But
and who was I forget who was that this year?
Logan Casper.
That's right. That's right.
Well, I'm extremely excited to watch you progress and see how you morph and adapt and take on these huge challenges. I can't wait to see you in Unbound XL and watch your freaking spot and just cheer you on.
That's right. I need to get that tracker.
Yeah.
You have to have like a GPS or a satellite tracker.
Yeah. Yeah. You don't currently have one.
I'm gonna get one.
Yeah. So when you're out doing these 200 milers, how do you check in with your wife? Does she have you on Life 360 or something, or does she just not care?
She cares.
Well, I mean,
No, okay.
I'm not saying that because my wife. I don't have a spot. My wife doesn't track me and stuff. So I mean, and she cares about me.
Yeah. I mean,
So
it's fine.
Yeah.
They get used to it. They're just like
no news
she
is
probably,
good news.
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
she probably worried a lot in the beginning, and then she's just like, "Oh, you're going out on a 15-hour ride. Okay, I'll see you tomorrow or whatever."
Yeah. Yeah. My wife worries more about me when I say, "Hey, I'm going to Knob Hills," and she's like, "Who are you riding with?" And I'm like, "Myself." That's when she worries about me, when I'm on a trail by myself.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. Sometimes if my wife will be like, "Who are you riding with?" and if it's my friend Alexi, she'll be like, "Okay, I'll see you tonight."
Yeah.
After bedtime, because when I ride with him, we just go for hours.
You just keep
all
going.
day long.
Yeah.
So are you planning to do a 300 miler prior to Unbound, or is that going to be your first 300 miler?
Oh, I've been wondering when the new fastest known time is coming out for. Is there another one coming out?
We've got one out in Elgin.
Yeah. Is there going to be another one around here?
Probably.
It's a secret. That one will probably be my next long ride.
Well, okay.
if you do it.
So I have a 300 mile Denton in my hip pocket. Would you prefer going after the 300-mile Denton, or would you prefer another 200-miler at a different location, somewhat nearby?
If it's within like an hour drive, I'm up for anything.
Well, here I want to ask you some more questions too along these lines. What's your current schedule ish? How many hours are you getting in a week?
I'm getting back into it now because it all depends on. I work from home and I have a really flexible job now, so it depends like when my kids are in school. You know, so if like they're in school, I can ride. I remember last year I had a really good start of the year. I think I was 6 months in, and I had 2.5 hours of training average every day.
Oh, every day?
Yeah, but that counts strength training, CrossFit, my wife's class, biking.
Yeah. So are you? So then you are doing back-to-back days?
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, I don't. The unconventional thing, I don't really listen to the let's have a rest day.
Okay.
Like my rest days are when
Rest days are going to happen.
Yeah,
Yeah.
they happen themselves.
If you
Yeah.
if you've got kids and family
Yeah.
and a job, rest days will force themselves into your life.
Yeah. Okay. I was just curious. I mean, are you doing like back-to-back centuries?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like
Like ramping up to XL, you'll be doing back-to-back centuries.
Yeah.
And stuff like that. Yeah.
my typical training day is maybe a 2-3 hour ride. No, not a 3. Sorry, like a 2-hour ride and then an hour CrossFit. That's
Yeah.
like a weekday
Yeah.
standard. Yeah.
So do you ride to CrossFit and then ride home?
I would, but I really, really, really don't like riding around cars.
Yeah.
And I think that comes from the mountain bike
Yeah.
start.
Ask Vaughn
It's
about
so
that.
scary.
You know Bond's story, right? Michael Bond, the guy that runs your CrossFit gym.
Oh, sorry, I just went blank.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, I do know. Yeah.
Yeah. That's one of the things that scares me off of roads too.
Yeah.
So he had stopped to help another cyclist
Yeah.
and got hit by a drunk driver.
I know.
So
Yeah, he's getting a lot better though. He's
Yeah.
been strength training a lot, and
Yeah.
I see him working out.
yeah, he's a hell of a guy.
Yeah.
I've known that guy for 20 plus years. So
Yeah.
shout out Michael Bond.
Oh, but your question though, I actually usually what I do is I drive to CrossFit, bring my bike, and then ride from there for about 2 hours because from there you can get up to Salina pretty
you
easily.
get that Salina stuff from there.
Yeah, and I made like my own ride with GPS, so that like I made a course to try and avoid as many cars as possible. So like I have some weird stuff I do, and then
Yeah.
get in the back country, ride for a little bit, come back, lock my bike up. Yeah.
Yeah, very cool. Very cool. I can't say how excited. I'm pleasured to meet you. Like I've been wanting to meet you. I've been intrigued for quite some time, and even more so when I saw your finishing picture at I can't remember what race it was.
All or nothing.
All or Nothing, yeah. And I was like, who is this freak on this bike? I gotta meet him. And I mean, you just fit so many different things that I wanted to discuss, and I'm intrigued beyond all means, and I can't wait to see what you do, because I think you're just getting hard into it, and you're gonna, if you don't burn out, you're gonna blow up. So I'm excited for you. So
Thank you.
That's a lot of negatives you're throwing on in there.
No.
He's either going to burn out or blow up.
Hey, he's not talking about my spelling. It's fine.
No, I'm talking about blowing up like in a good way.
Okay.
Sorry, I should have been more clear. So,
All good. Do you know Matt Stevens by chance?
Maybe I'm really bad with names, honestly.
No, okay. Don't worry about it. No worries. If he's a local high-level endurance gravel racer and road racer too.
I probably met him then.
stupid fast, beautiful mustache, like
Best mullet to be had.
5'8", 130 pounds.
Yeah.
You know.
If you get the opportunity to pick his brain somewhere along the way, I would encourage it. But
And his wife's also a pro as well, Lauren Stevens.
Yeah, they're
Both great people.
very good people, and I think they could be a very good knowledge resource for you. And
Sorry for all the leaves.
and that I would love to be a fly on the wall of that conversation.
Yeah.
Because you're going to drive him nuts with your unconventional stuff.
Yeah.
But he's gonna latch onto your grit, and he'll have some really good tips for you.
Yeah.
So hey, Matt, if you're listening, look up Justin. Man.
So the other question, like, what metrics do you track? I mean, you running a heart rate monitor, you running cadence, you run power.
Yeah, I have power. It just came stock on my gravel bike, but I don't really look at it or think about it too much.
You don't process it?
No.
Yeah. Okay.
And then heart rate, I have that, and the same thing. I don't really process it that much.
Yeah. But I mean, like, do you? So on your heads up, are you looking at that stuff? Is your heart rate
How
even
do you
on there?
use your computer? Just for navigation?
Basically, yeah.
How do you use your 3 computers?
Right. Well, I have my phone on there for YouTube if I get bored. No, I'm kidding.
I mean, I understand your phone is just a phone, but it's still a computer. You know,
Yeah.
I mean, you can still do stuff.
No,
through it.
I really just keep up the map.
Yeah.
And then if it's a race, I don't need anything else except the map because I mean I'm pushing it 100%. Like,
But you're
all the
not.
time.
But you're watching your average speed, right?
No.
No.
I mean, not really because it's so hard to tell an average speed because like if you're going uphill, downhill, like it's hard to see an average. I mean, I do a little bit for the average speed,
But you
not
can run your
really
current
obsess it.
average speed on your heads-up display,
Yeah.
along with your current speed.
Yeah.
So it calculates overall. Like if you've ridden an hour, it'll tell you, hey, you're at 14.3 miles an hour or whatever. So when and now the only reason I ask that is because if you have a goal of say 12 miles an hour for
let's try this. I'm sorry, I'm stepping all over.
no, you're
you.
good.
How do you pace yourself?
Not well.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, what do you use? What mechanism do you key off of when you're out there riding your FKT attempt or whatever, or if you're just doing a race, a mountain bike? How is it? Just how you feel? That's how you pace yourself.
Just listening
Yes.
into the engine room.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So if let's for specifically for racing, it's just giving 100% all the time how I feel. Yeah.
But how do you keep from blowing up? Just
Because
it's like
some could say that if you're not blowing up, you're not giving 100%.
yeah.
yeah.
But if you do enough races, like I do every single spinachy race that my schedule allows.
Yeah.
I follow what you're saying, and I'm definitely not here to change your ways. I don't want to do that.
We're more curious.
I used to really pay attention to heart rate, so maybe this will help you. And I pay attention more to average mile per hour. But just recently, I've kind of been like, "What's the point?"
Okay.
Because I'm giving 100%.
Okay,
There we go.
All right,
Yeah.
there we go. Okay.
So, yeah.
Makes
you,
sense.
you all right? By utilizing heart rate, you found what your pace was. Your body tells
Yeah.
you. Okay, you know how to read your body simply based on heart
Previous.
rate
Yeah.
information previously.
Because a lot of people have a hard time getting into a pace if they haven't processed through heart rate over a course of years. And like knowing, like looking at, okay, I'm at 140 beats a minute. I feel great. I can hold this. And I'm just throwing out a number. I can hold this for 4 hours, you know. Whereas some people, you know, look down and they see 140 beats and they're like, oh my, like if Rich looked down and saw 140 beats, he'd be like, I'm dying, you know. So,
But in turn, some of us, we know that 140 beat feeling is where we need to be, and we don't even have to see that on the display anymore. It's like, I'm there.
yeah.
Or it's like, man, why am I bouncing off trees? And then oh, wait a minute. I'm overdoing it a bit.
Yeah.
Dial it, and sometimes you have to remind yourself that way. And it's not specifically keying on the beats per minute. It's keying on your body.
Yeah.
But somewhere along the way, you found something to benchmark to somewhere along the way.
Yeah, I think it's just the more you ride, the more you race. You kind of just figure it out. Yeah.
Well,
It's not that simple. Some people do. You're such an anomaly, Justin. You really are.
I want to go ahead and put a placeholder to have you back on, if not before. Love to have you back on after Unbound XL.
Yeah.
And talk about your experience, talk about how things went, good, bad, indifferent. See how you felt against the field, see how the course was, and that kind of stuff. Just to hear you digest it.
Well, now I
real time.
really have to finish and not quit because I can't come back on here and be like, I quit because I was tired.
You're not gonna quit anyways.
know that.
My money is on Justin doesn't quit unless he breaks something on his body.
Well,
You know?
okay, we didn't talk about that part yet.
Which part?
I used to crash a lot, and I for years I would go get injured and injured. Like I broke so many bones I can't count them. I broke the same bone twice in my hand. I went to get it X-rayed, and they couldn't figure out if it was broken because he was like, it looks like you just broke this like not that long ago and is healing back weird.
Yeah.
So basically, what I've done is dial it back a lot when it comes to pushing my limits with mountain biking.
So a lot of people suffer from this. They get a lot of fitness, but they don't have handling skills. It's kind of like having a car with a fast engine and you can't really turn it.
Yeah.
You know?
And I don't really understand like why I don't have as much good or as good handling skills because the hours that I have put into mountain biking are probably more than the average person.
Yeah.
But it also could be maybe like the more hours you put in, the more chances you're taking to actually get hurt.
That's fair.
Ooh,
That's fair.
deep thoughts
Exposure.
with Justin Cary. But
Well, I mean,
no, it's true.
it's
But
exposure.
I'm gonna tell you why. And it sounds like you actually figured it out yourself. Remember, I was talking about at the beginning of this. Justin stood out as that hair on fire guy, right? Going through the start finish line, spinning those cranks at 120 RPM. You were overriding on the single track. You were in that red zone in your head where you were pushing 100%. But when you're on single track, when you're pushing 100%, then your handling diminishes because your brain can't keep up with it.
Yeah.
Is basically. So you were overriding not your skill set. You were overriding your fitness.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah.
So, and that's real easy to get into. And I'm not going to mention e-bikes and how some e-bikers get in trouble for doing the same, but we're not going to go there.
I'll go back.
E-bike,
I'll go back.
is an e-bike on your to-do list?
I just bought an e-bike actually.
Let me guess. Is it a Trek?
It's a Specialized.
No shit.
Wow! Wait a
Stepping
minute.
out.
So tell us about your e-bike. What'd you get and why?
I'm gonna get in trouble for this.
Why?
It's not for me.
Oh, it's for the whiff?
No, it's for my daughter.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Why are
So-
you going to get in trouble for it?
Well, because you're busting people's balls about getting e-bikes for kids.
Man, I do not sit in judgment.
Okay.
No, my wife, she said, I said, hey, can we get my daughter a bike? And she said, yes.
Oh,
So
I'm-
it's a bike.
I'm all about it. What'd you get her?
Okay, so if you're gonna Google it,
I am.
It's okay. So just type in like Specialized, and then e-bike kids.
Okay.
I think they only have one. It's 100 mil of front suspension.
Okay. How old's your daughter?
She's 6.
Holy crap.
Okay, but hold on. She's a big 6. Like she's tall. She looks like she's 7.
if y'all could see Brad's face right now.
You guys are gonna get me in trouble at home.
Oh,
Let's cut this part out.
Does Sarah not know the price of this bike?
Your kid is never going to carry the boats.
So okay, here's my theory. She's growing out of her bike now on her single speed. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to wait a little bit because her feet can't touch the floor yet. And then we're going to go to the green belt, and just gravel on each side, just straight. And I'm thinking it in like a year. Okay, but in my defense, this bike was 50% off.
That's fair.
No, Sarah, that bike was 80%
I mean,
off.
it was like $150. I mean, that's how much e-bikes cost.
Yeah,
right.
Yeah. All right, so not judging here. Seriously, not judging at all.
He looks like he's judging over there.
I'm going to need stitches for my tongue.
So what is the rationale for an e-bike for her as opposed to a regular bike?
Okay, so it's basically so that she can ride with me. That's the intention.
I get that.
I assumed that was the case. I was just want to double. So What's the full price for the bike that Justin got for 90% off?
I think it was
I'm not-
170 with tax.
Not even gonna. I'm not getting in this. I don't want to get anybody in trouble. I will not be a party to that.
Can I get a nice smoker for that price?
You could get a very nice smoker, not electric.
Okay.
Man, I don't even know how to respond to all that.
And
But I do appreciate the fact that you want her to ride with you. So I assume your wife doesn't ride at all?
No, I got her a bike a long time ago. She wasn't super into it.
Yeah.
But back to the e-bike though for kids really quick. I was at Big Cedar one time and I saw this dad with his two daughters and they were completely stuck. Like the girls couldn't ride that trail uphill. And I actually stopped. I remember I was hopping. I'm like, hey, let's just carry these bikes out because the girls were crying.
Yeah.
Sure,
The dad wasn't having fun.
Sure.
If they were on e-bikes, they would be able to do it.
You still have to have handling skills.
Yeah.
Yeah. Is
Well, you
your
can
daughter as
develop.
prone to injury as you are?
I don't know. We'll see.
To be determined.
Hopefully not.
So is this bike good from 6 to 16, or is this a bike that's good for 2 or 3 years?
Oh no, it's gonna be good till probably 13.
Okay.
Yeah, I think my wife actually could probably ride it.
Okay.
It may have a dropper on it.
I think it does have a
No,
drop.
it does.
Yeah.
I mean, it was.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So no, I'm not going there. I'm not going there.
Let the man be.
No,
so you have
I'm
a border collie. I saw on your Facebook.
I'm perfectly fine with that. I have nothing against e-bikes. I'm again, when we have these conversations, what I'm trying to better understand is why people make the choices they do related to e-bikes. Not that it's like that would never register for me.
Yeah.
To even consider that. That doesn't mean it's a bad thing. It's just no, I wouldn't have thought of that for my kids.
Yeah, it's like. Here's another unconventional thing I did actually. I have a son who's autistic, like pretty bad on the special needs spectrum, and you guys might have seen YouTube videos of this system, but I have like a carrier that I can pull him, and it has a suspension in the back. So he actually just recently grew out of it, but we've done hundreds of rides together, and he's loved it. And,
Okay.
Yeah. So but I think where I was going with this is like, yeah, it was kind of expensive, but like that time I had with them was awesome, and it was worth
Yeah.
it.
You can't put a price on shared experiences like that.
No.
Yeah. So
definitely
that's what
not.
I was thinking. Like if I get an e-bike, maybe it will make her be able to spend more time with me riding.
Okay, so now you turn it around. Now I am going to go down the question I was trying to not ask has your daughter shown the interest in riding with you and doing that much riding and taking the skill set to that next level?
Yes, but she's 6.
Yeah.
So she loves riding with me like around the neighborhood.
Okay.
And I'm so worried about cars. We have like
Fair.
we're in a nice neighborhood
Completely fair.
and it's 20 miles an hour, but cars go 30 and
Yeah.
it's like so.
Well, yeah. I got into a debate with a friend the other night about the cycling industry and the industry itself is just on this overall downward trend that you just exclude the COVID bubble, and it's a trend that's been going for 10 years now. And lots of people, they can turn it around and this and that, and it's like we're 2 generations deep into kids don't ride their bikes around the neighborhood anymore.
Yeah.
And it's not safe for people to hop on the roads right out of their garage and ride a bike anymore. The way it's going to take to change the cycling industry is we got to find safe
Infrastructure.
ways. We got to find safe ways for people to ride their bikes and encourage them to do that sort of thing. And it's an event to ride a bicycle now.
Yeah.
Most people are not in a position just to hop on a bike out of their garage and go ride their bike for an hour. That's not a realistic expectation. And you take it to the kids level, it's almost impossible now.
I wish
Yeah.
we had like more bike paths.
Yeah.
But
They are growing, and it is trending upwards. I know at least in Denton and the Denton
No,
area.
I think a lot of areas it is.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, we're to the point now where people don't think. Their first thought isn't, "Oh, I'm going to ride my bicycle." People don't have the bicycle to ride anymore. Is what it is, and I think that's really what it's like. Hey, you've got this green belt in your neighborhood, or it's
Yeah.
easily accessible.
Yeah.
You've got this 20 miles of paved trail that winds between your communities. Go
Yeah.
ride a bike on it.
Yeah.
And I think that's the big message we need to help encourage the growth of the sport and
That
the
is
growth of the industry.
legitimately why I moved here, almost 15 years ago, is because I was living in the colony and couldn't ride anywhere
Right.
from my garage without feeling like I was going to freaking get hit.
Right.
And when we had our kids, and I was like, man, we need to get out of here, because my kids couldn't ride their bike. Well, of course, they don't ride bikes anyways, and I wanted somewhere where I could jump out and ride. And I ride from my garage most of the time, and I can ride from here to the Greenbelt.
Yeah.
I can ride from here to Nob Hills. I ride from here to North Shore, and I mean, I've ridden from here to downtown Dallas. So I mean, that was the whole reason I moved here. But it is really sad, because I think we talked about that on the last podcast. When I was a kid, if you wanted to know where your friends were, you just rode around the neighborhood and looked for their bike, And I think BMX sales are probably a tenth of what they were 20 years ago, because kids aren't getting BMX bikes.
Well, that's a fair question.
Mm-hmm.
So in 2015, when you got on the bike as an adult, why a bike? What pointed you that way almost 10 years ago?
Neighbor, right?
yeah, neighbor. But this is an interesting question, because I've thought about this before, and I feel like a lot of people, well, most people that are going to listen to this podcast are probably already riding bikes.
Sure.
But if anybody doesn't and they're listening to this, just go try it, because it's like, I feel like it's this hidden community that we're all used to.
Mm-hmm.
But the people that aren't in this bike community, whether it's road, gravel, enduro, everything, XC, like, they don't understand how awesome it is,
Well, it's a renewed sense of freedom too.
Yeah.
Like, as a child, that was our ticket to freedom before we were able to drive. It was you could get on a bike and you could just ride wherever you wanted to. You weren't being carried somewhere by your parent who could drive. You could make the decisions. You could turn right, you could turn left, you could go explore, stuff like that. And I think as an adult, we still appreciate that aspect. If you ride from your house, you can choose to go west, or you can choose to go east, or you can, I want to go see what's going on with this construction site, whatever, that's a renewed sense of freedom.
Speaking of that, that's why I really do like gravel a lot, is because it feels like it's an adventure. You're not riding the same Irwin Park
Yeah.
every day. No, nothing bad about Irwin Park. That's my home trail.
We're on the same page
Yeah.
there. We're on the same page there.
Yeah, but
That's how I got it. That's how I got into gravel. It's like I love riding my mountain bike, but I have to see new stuff.
Yeah, go and see. Yeah.
No ifs, ands, or
I love
buts
the
about it.
exploration aspect of it, because we're frequently on rides, and it's nothing for us to go, what's down here? Let's just go check.
Holy hell, we're an hour and a half into this.
Yeah. Well, I got a TT.
I do too.
Yeah.
Anything important you want to throw into the mix here, Justin?
no, just thanks for having me on. Thanks to my wife for being so supportive about me and my daughter's biking.
Well, you will definitely have to come back on this podcast, because it is.
Sounds great.
I didn't even hardly scratch the surface. I have 100 other questions for you, so we would love to have you back.
Yeah,
So,
I'll come back anytime.
all right.
Excellent. Well, best of luck in your XL endeavors, and we're definitely going to find ways to help you get trained up for it. Thanks for joining us, Justin.
Ride your bike.